Hello and welcome to Athena's Creations 2017. I'm Athena Turk, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator since 2017. This evening I've got two brand new to me fun folds to share with you with a brand new suite of product that I've been playing with for a couple of weeks now. And I'm very excited to explore more with you hopefully next week. So we're going to go ahead and get started and share the four amazing folds and techniques. There's actually some techniques too, as I copy the inspiration that was found online that's available to demonstrators currently. And we have a demonstrator only event this Saturday that I'm hosting. I'm very excited about Creativity Now and all the things to go with this suite of product and learning how to make envelopes. So if you have a card you made and you don't have an envelope and you don't have time to run to the store, we'll be able to figure that out together. So look forward to sharing that with you hopefully next week. We're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully the technical difficulties will be at a minimum. It's been kind of an adventure, I guess, is hopefully an easy way to call it, other than frustrating at times when you've got some technical difficulty sometimes. But I'm really hoping this works as we get started here. So thank you for bearing with me. Like I said, I've got a couple of new to me cards, fun folds to share with you. The first one's going to be this really cool card here. And I've got all the measurements that I'm going to share with you as well. A technique on this one. And then this fun fold. And a lot of these, they're very simple. They're easy to make. And this is kind of a wow card to me. I just love this one. Kind of tucks in there. Now, to get started, I want to share with y'all all of that's available in the suite. So, of course, we have this amazing stamp set, Peace on Earth. And we have the matching dies, which I have off to the side because I've been doing a lot with them. However, I did make like a template to share so that you can have an idea of what these amazing dies look like. We've got this tall leaf. We've got this really tiny leaf. And then we've got this one little die cut. We'll actually cut out two. It's like a little envelope. At first I wasn't real sure what that was, but it's like a little envelope. And then we've got the dies for the doves. And of course we've got beautiful glimmer paper. We've got the stars that will cut out, I believe, 3. Yep, it'll cut out 3. That's part of this suite of product. And these two amazing die cut pieces. So absolutely love that. And then that's the die cuts. And then we've got some really beautiful embellishments. They're not really Christmassy, but they are little flowers, hues of blue flowers. And there's 160, and that's part of the suite, along with an amazing embossing folder, Peaceful Greenery 3D embossing folder. You're going to see that in action tonight. And then we also have the coordinating ribbon. This is Misty Moonlight. It's got like some silver on the edges of it. It's silver edged ribbon. It's absolutely gorgeous. We're going to be using that as well. Part of the suite, of course, is the Designer Series paper. This is a pack of paper of 6 different papers that are designed that have 2 sides to them. So you're bound to fall in love with any number of these. And like I said, I've just started playing with this suite a little over a week ago, and there's a lot to this. And I did do some pre-cutting of the paper for what I was mentioning before, Creativity Now, for this weekend. Now this one is absolutely gorgeous. It's the kind of designer paper you almost don't want to do anything with. However, as you can see, I've already punched out because I'm going to use it on one of our cards. And then I just kind of trimmed off a little bit here so that I could make room and come in with my, let's see, it's the 2 3/8 punch, circle punch. Then you just line it up and punch it out. And then it can layer on pretty much anything. Of course, both sides of this paper is absolutely gorgeous. And we're going to be using a lot of these different papers in our cards tonight, as well as this Saturday when we have our demonstrator event, the Creativity Now. So I'm very excited about that. Again, beautiful, gorgeous paper. And you can see where that little tiny leaf is in the mouth of the dove. Absolutely gorgeous. And then this one, I really love this side the best. It's got like those stars, like a starry night scene. I'm hoping it'll go with some of the other mini catalog products, which we don't know just yet. There's this really pretty side here. But honestly, this is my favorite side. And then the sixth piece in this is this part of the designer paper. And then on the back, it's this one. So there's bound to be something in this paper that you're going to love, right? I don't always get full suites, but for this one, I got everything in the suite. I don't know. Sometimes I just see it and I realize I want it all. But there's a lot of times I just get the bundle and I use other product that I have that's coordinating. But this one, I love, love, love. It's got Peaceful Garden glimmer paper. We've got our blue, and then we have our dark gray, which kind of looks silver, and then the soft green, which is the new in color, if I'm not mistaken. So we've got lots of beautiful glimmer to work with, and the matching cardstock. Absolutely gorgeous. And let's go ahead and get started on the first card this evening. Like I said, we've got some different techniques that we're going to be playing with, and I'm going to share with you. Now, this paper, this cardstock piece, is our new Secret C. And I love that Stampin' Up! Has taken out the guesswork out of the colors and what goes together and all the coordination, because every designer series paper pack will have what coordinates with it. Let's see, I do believe I wrote down the measurements for this lovely card. This one here, we're using the Dove in Cloud Cover, Peace on Earth, coordinating, beautiful ribbon, and more glimmer on the inside, Peace, Love, and Joy. And this is going to be our nice little stand-up, prop-up card. Very simple measurements. It's an 8.5 by 5.5 cardstock piece, scored at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. Our inside white and the outside that we've got embossed is 5 1/4. Or did I emboss it? Oh, I don't think I did. 5 1/4 by 4. And blend this particular one, I blended Garden Green. We've got 3 different greens that could be a possibility. The Glimmer designer paper on the inside is 3.5 by 3/4 of an inch. And the white that we're going to stamp on is measured 3 1/4 by 1/2 inch. And we get a lot of extra pieces that measurement when we cut off the white for the inside of our cards. We have this piece left over, and that's what we're using for the Peace, Love, and Joy on this particular card. And then we just cut it down and then added some more glimmer. I just love all the glimmer and shine. Hopefully you like this card too. And then we've got some ribbon, and you won't be able to see it on the back, so there's a little trick there I'm going to share with you on that. And here's all of our pieces. And I did die cut a bunch of and embossed with the embossing folder, because like I said, that's part of this amazing suite. It's 3D. And 3D, that just simply means that you can run your embossing folder. Oop, I hear my puppy. Hold that thought. And this is something... Oh, Spot, what is it? Sorry about that. It basically fits. Go see him. Go see him. Go get him. Once he runs out of the room, I'll shut the door. Sorry about that. I thought for sure he'd be quiet tonight. Hold on just a second. Come on, let's go. Go see. Go see. Go get him. There you go. Sorry about that. I had to close the door because he'll just be doing that for the next 45 minutes or so if I don't. Sorry about that. Okay. He's a sweet little puppy. He's my little stamping buddy. So we've got this die cut that will fit on the inside. Right? There we go. And you can put your designer paper here. And then when you run, or not designer paper, when your cardstock piece, in other words. And then when you run it through, it will not only die cut out the middle piece, but then it's going to leave this piece right here embossed, okay? Now, I should have done that already to show you what that looks like. Like I said, this one has a lot to explore, the entire suite. But I decided to layer my piece in this card. But that's what that 3D means. If you've ever gotten those folders and wondered why on earth it's called 3D, it just means that you have your base plate, your embossed folder, and then a clear plate, or not clear plate, but that it says it on there. It's the dark plate number 4, I believe. And then you just run that through always with the spine first. It just protects your folder. You get it wrong, it might cut some of the edges off, or at least the old machines it used to. Our new Stampin' Emboss machine is fabulous. I could not recommend that enough. It is amazing. You should get one if you don't have one. Crafter's Tools Delight. And then this will be for the inside piece when we get there. There's no stamping on that one just yet. We're also going to be using our little tiny blending brush. And then just some scrap paper, or even if you've got junk mail paper, you could use that. Down on the bottom, here's our main piece. We'll just set that to the side for a second. And like I said, I've die cut out some pieces just to make it a little bit easier. And then we'll go with that. So for this particular card, like I said, I used the Garden Green, and I did a poll in my group and I asked what color green, and I had one for every one of them, but I think I had 2 or 3 that, whoop, this is the wrong one. This is Garden Green. I had 2 or 3 say that they liked the shaded spruce, right? So I had the old olive, and there's no wrong answer when it comes to the green colors, in all honesty. It just depends on what it is that you're wanting to be your focal point in the card. And so this is what the shaded spruce is going to look like, and we're going to do that one. This is the old olive, and this one's the Garden Green. I don't know. There's also a mossy meadow, actually, that's probably a little bit deeper kind of green, forestry. But let's do this one and see what that looks like. So we're going to do our shaded spruce. And what I like to do is when I'm using my blending brush, just pick up a little bit of ink, and I'm going to start off on the scrap paper and then bring in the color, because you can see it kind of leaves a little dot, like you can see where it started when you brought in the color. And then you just continue to blend it in. You can make the design on here as light or as dark as you would like for it to be. I just wanted to do this to kind of show off those nice little leaves on the side. And again, this is a Stamp Suite bundle that is absolutely going to be a must-have in your collection, because you can use it not only for Christmas, but you can use it for so much more. In fact, I'm so enamored with this suite that I am going to feature it in my July Stamp-A-Stack Christmas workshop. If you're local to me and you're interested, I would love for you to join us. You have the option, of course, to do just the 4 cards or a Stamp-A-Stack. Believe it or not, we are, let's see, next Wednesday, we will be exactly 6 months till Christmas. And when you're a crafter, you can never have enough time to get started on your Christmas. And then you can see that I can reuse this. I don't need to have 4 different greens for my blending brush. I can just have the 3 that come in the pack, and it's enough. It's plenty. You don't need more. If you can afford it and you have the space for it, go for it. I have limited space and limited funds, so I just go with the 3. And I always like to share that you don't have to have it all, and you can still use all of these supplies to make amazing cards. Okay? So we're going with the shaded spruce, because that was the common. Let's do that one. Now we're going to bring in some of this beautiful ribbon, and I don't need a whole bunch. I just need enough to cover the front and then wrap it around the side just a tiny bit. And this one is a little tricky, only that as we're not going to put it on just yet, but as we go to put it on the base of the card, we're going to have to be very cognizant of where it's at when we adhere it, okay? So just set that right there for now. We're going to stamp our peace, love, and joy. And then we're going to trim that down. And then we're going to stamp peace on earth. And we're going to be using Misty Moonlight. Although we probably could use the new in color. And I don't know what I did with the new in color. It should be on my desk, but I don't see it. So we're going to go ahead and go with this one. I had to actually re-ink this one. I'd had it for a long time. Actually, let's do that. It's right in front of me. I put all the coordinating colors in front of me, and that's where it's at. So let's try the 2 different colors. So you can just kind of get an idea of how dark it is. So Secret Sea and Misty Moonlight. Let's go ahead with the Peace on Earth with the Misty Moonlight, because we've got that beautiful Misty Moonlight there. The original reason I did the garden green was when I looked on our color coordination chart. It indicated Misty Moonlight goes very well with that one, but I think it's going to go just fine with the shaded. Let's see. Just press down firmly and let that ink soak in. You never want to rock your block. And there's always 2 sides, so if for some reason we didn't like how that turned out or it was lopsided, you always have the option in stamping to turn it over and try it again. All right, so next we're going to Peace, Love, and Joy. This time I want you to see, well, let me just show you this real quick. You can tell it was really light. Now, this is Misty Moonlight, both of these. And I don't know, maybe it's not coming off on the camera. This one was before I re-inked it. And this was after I re-inked it. So it was a little light, but I still think it's amazing. All right, Peace, Love, and Joy. And we're going to use our Secret Sea for this one. And then, of course, the new ink pads. They give you 2, one that you can have on the outside, right there. On the back, they give you that, and they give you extra plain color, so you could probably use that for another possible place. But they have it here too, so I love that you have that. They didn't have that in the older ink pads. So they're always doing nice features, upgrading all of the different things that they're doing. Makes it easier for us. I love it. All right, this one. Just find that nice spot right there in the middle. Just give it a couple of seconds to let the ink soak in. Beautiful. All right. Now, I don't know. See how close in color it is? Love it. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, before I trim this down, again, the measurement on the glitter or the glimmer is 3.5 by 3/4 of an inch. And then, as I mentioned earlier, this is basically one of those that came when I cut this piece down. When you cut that piece right there down, you're left over with this piece here. So it's the perfect size for the Peace, Love, and Joy. Okay, so you can use your paper trimmer or trim it with your scissors. I think that's pretty close. And then I'm going to use, since it's glimmer paper, sometimes adhesives can be tricky when you're using some glimmer paper. Let me just put one glue dot on each end. Oops. That wasn't supposed to happen. There it is, still on the paper. Okay. All right, here we go. Just trying to find that sweet spot right smack dab in the middle. That's very, very close. Really pretty. Now for this one, we're going to put dimensionals on there so that it will help to hold up our little design piece right there. It's going to hold it up for us. So we definitely want to make sure we use every part that we can of the dimensionals. I can't believe those first, I don't know, 3 years that I stamped that I would use up the middle and toss out the rest. Once you use the middle, you've got the sides that work just fine. Use every bit of your supplies as possible. That's what I try to do. Okay, so next we're going to layer our Peace on Earth with Misty Moonlight. Oops. And I'm using my Stampin' Seal. Make sure it's on the track. And then I just flick it towards me, because if you go left or right, you take the chance of it going off the track. Now, it was either last week or the week before that happened. Now when it gets on your glass, I forgot to get this wet, but you can pick it up really easy. Just like that. Okay. Peace on Earth. I've got so many tips that I'm wanting to make sure I share with you when I share how you put these together, that I may be going a little over the hour that I normally do, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to put about 4. So now we're going to go ahead, before we start to assemble everything, we've got everything stamped. And then you're just going to burnish all those score lines. Just like that. And again, it's going to sit up like this. We're going to go ahead and adhere our piece of white cardstock, which is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Find that sweet spot. I'm going to hold up one flap, apply my adhesive, and do the same on the other side. Now this is where we're going to adhere this one. We only want to put adhesive on the one side only. And here's the trick I'm going to share with you. I want it to be as even as possible, or as I can get it. And then I'm going to apply a tiny bit of adhesive. Like I said, just a little tiny bit. Okay, just like that. This is the tip for you. So we've got a little bit holding it on, and we still need to put more adhesive. However, I wanted to make sure that I got this beautiful ribbon wrapped around and kind of tucked under so it's not shown, so you can't see it. And this is the trick to do that. All right, so you can see that's where it needs to be there. So there's just that little bit, so it's not a full adhesive just yet. So this one needs to be right there. I'm holding it down and I'm gonna grab me a glue dot. Okay. So normally I would want it to be right smack in the middle, but you can see it's just under that tiny little dot there. All right, so one more glue dot. They used to be on this side. They keep changing them every time they manufacture them, and I don't get it. I don't know why they can't just keep it one way. I don't know if their machine malfunctioned or what. It's kind of strange, but anyway. Let's just measure it one more time. And just hold that off to the side. Measure twice, cut once kind of situation. Let's just double check that. Yep, that's gonna work. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put that glue dot right there. So it's just under, so it's not quite centered, if that makes sense. Check it again. It needs to go down just a tiny bit, so this is where make your adjustments before you finalize the adhesive here. That looks good. All righty. Now remember, up to that score line is where you're going to put your adhesive. It's very, very close. And if that little tiny bit bothers you as a stamper, you can always take your scissors and kind of go in and trim a little bit as well. But I'm not that particular, but I did want to share with you the secret to getting that as close as possible. Nice. Okay. So next, we're going to get the dimensionals off of this one and put it on the top. Just like that. So I really think that looks great, don't you? Shaded spruce and garden green. They both look amazing. I do like that. So next we have our peace, love, and joy that we're going to put in the middle. So you can show this card off. And this one obviously is more of a Christmas card. But as you can see with the peace on earth, heartfelt prayers, deepest sympathy, big hugs for a good friend, wishing you love, sending heartfelt prayers. There's a lot of possibilities with this one, not just for Christmas. So I love the versatility of this. All right. So that's approximately where we're going to put our love, joy, and peace. And there we have it. Now, the next thing we're going to do is add our little dove. And I'm just going to add a tiny little bit of adhesive just there at that corner. And then the final touch will be a couple of those cute little flowers. So we're going to do the dark colored flower. And this is optional, but I figured this looks really cute with the little flowers on here. And one right there. And those are the Hues of Blues flowers, which probably could go with a lot of other different cards and things. So here we have the Shaded Spruce and the Garden Green, and I love both of them. Which one do you like the best? For some reason, I'm not able to see comments, but if you are commenting, I will definitely reply later. Now here's a new one, a new fun fold that's new to me. I don't know that I've shared this one before. And this one opens like this. Peace on Earth. Misty Moonlight. Love this one. I thought I had written the measurements down somewhere. Oh, here we go. So the base of the card is 7.5 by 5.5, scored at 3 1/4 and 6.5. The inside wide is 5 1/4 by 3. And then this designer paper is 5 1/4 by 3. And then this one is 5 1/4 by 7/8 of an inch, or 1 inch back 2. Okay. So let's share how I did this one. And I think this one we're going to change up the circle just a tiny bit because we've got lots of options out there. So maybe you don't have that particular circle. Maybe you have the Spotlight on Nature dies, and those have fun circles. That's the one I think we're going to use with this one instead of the Stitched Stylish, which is what's on the original. I just think that looks pretty amazing right there. So here's all of our pieces. One thing I really love about circles is you can't tell if it was on there crooked because it just keeps going around in circles. In other words, on the piece, the long one, the Peace and Love, you could tell if it was a little off. But on circles, it's not an issue at all. That's so cute. I think that looks like a paper plate. I never did play with that one bundle that I wanted to. That's something too, is, you know, even if you can afford to get a couple of those that you really, really want to get, I don't always have time to play with all of them. So I try to be careful about, you know, maximizing my purchase, because sometimes I get a stamp set or a bundle and I don't get around to playing with it. And then it's like, oh dear. All right, just burnish all those score lines. And this one's particularly back and forward. Okay, this piece here, back and forward, just make sure it's nice and burnished. Because it opens like that. It's kind of odd, right? When you fold it, you think, oh, wait, that's not how it works. So that's where the fold's going to be, because it opens that way. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add here this piece to our cardstock, cardstock right here. Try to find that sweet spot, which is centering it. Going to hold down one side and then lift up this one to apply my adhesive. If you're using liquid glue, it's probably a little bit easier because there's a little bit of give time. And the glue dot's kind of back that way too a little bit. Now we are going to stamp Peace on Earth on the inside. So before we put that one together, we're going to go ahead and stamp Peace on Earth with Misty Moonlight. But actually, I think I want to use our Secret Sea. I really love this color. And I'm pretty sure that Night of Navy would work if that's what you have in your stash. Kind of line this up with my grid. There we go. And then just apply even pressure and give it a couple of seconds so that that ink can soak into the cardstock. As a new stamper years ago, I never did realize that's what I needed to do. And then It has really made a difference in my card making. All right, so again, we just want to find that sweet spot. Hold down one side, lift this flap up, and apply our adhesive. So yes, if you are close to us, July 19th is my next in-home workshop. And it is a Christmas card workshop. Very excited about that. Love the Christmas time. And it's going to feature this suite of product. And then I'm going to close this one because I sort of want to line this one up a little bit. You don't have to, but try to get it as close as possible. Add a little bit of adhesive there. Then a nice little strip, just like that. Make sure that's still on the roller. Now before we put this piece on, we're going to add a little bit of our glimmer paper. Remember this, it's got 3 different glimmer pieces to it. Absolutely gorgeous. This one I'm lining up on the grid. Just like this, okay? And that's really, really close. Just like that. All right, now, see how that's very cool. I would have never thought about that concept. I just love it. So the reason why I wanted a bigger circle is I just kind of wanted, I don't know, I just wanted a little bit bigger circle. Now you can have this piece wherever you want it. I can't remember why I put it down on the bottom. I guess no rhyme or reason. I don't know. But I think I want to bring it up a little bit. Like right there. I think maybe I was thinking I would put some kind of ribbon or some kind of something. I don't know. But again, no wrong. You make your card how you want it to look. I'm just here to give you ideas and hopefully good card measurements. So my finger's right here and right about there. In other words, I only want to apply a little bit of adhesive right here. Because I only want it to be on that tiny little bit of the flap. And being the circle, you can move it where you want it. Just like that. And the final piece on this one is going to be this really nice flower on top of that flower. I don't know if you could see that in the original one or not. Both cards, absolutely gorgeous. Again, you can put this anywhere that you want it. I put this one toward the bottom, this one's in the middle, and it just opens like that. Fun fold, kind of a different, never done that one before. That's card number 2. Next, I have a brand new fold, another brand new fold for you, and then the last card will be our technique card. So here's one. Unfortunately, there's times as we get older, we're going to need sympathy cards. And this stamp set, like I said, it's very, very versatile. It's got very nice font. Christmas, big hugs, words of encouragement. Again, you can bring in other stamps that would go along with this quite well. I'm using a ribbon and then those little diamonds. Now this little die cut piece, you can use a punch, you could use the Spotlight on Nature dies again. This one actually is from the Hibiscus bundle. I believe it's still available, or perhaps it's on the last chance. I didn't look today, so I don't know, maybe it's sold out, but you know, I love that bundle because of some of the die cuts. That was one of them. So this fun fold card base is 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored at 4 1/4. The inside white is 4 by 4, and the layering piece is 4 by 4. The DSP is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. the right front DSP is 4x1. I don't know how to describe how to trim to cut to the score line to 1 1/4. So I will just kind of walk you through that, okay? So this is like a regular fold card, but only like 1 1/4 will be adhered down. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me show you what I did. Maybe show, like me, you're visual, and when I show you, then it'll make sense. So this is the piece right here. And so let me just show you with my paper trimmer, because that might be helpful. But sometimes I can't find the right words to describe, so let me just show you what I mean. So for this one, I basically, this direction, this side, right? So you've got your score line right here in the middle. This side of the design of the cardstock piece, I brought it in at 1 1/4. Now 1 1/4 is going to be, there's the 1, so up to this line here, and that's the 1 1/4. And then I cut down to the score line. Now when I cut, let me show you on the trimmer. That's what I love about this trimmer. You can see this right here is where I needed to stop at the score line. And so I just basically cut it down to the score line using this guide right here on each side. Okay, again, I had a regular piece of cardstock that I brought in all the way to 1 1/4. And then I trimmed up to the score line, which is in the middle. And that's what created this new to me fun fold. New to me because I don't recall ever sharing this before. Okay. Now a hint, if your paper is starting to fray a little bit, it's probably time to change the cutter blade. They come in a 4-pack, so you know 1 pack will last you quite a while. I definitely will need to change that out. Now this one I have the with Deepest Sympathy. Again, you could bring in other card or other stamps that have praying for you, thinking of you, or whatever sentiment you might want on the inside, or just I'm praying for you, or just blank, and then you fill in what you would like. So always have that option available. Now this is that beautiful Secret Sea, brand new. Let's see here. I think first thing I would like to do is layer this piece, which again, I love this, the doves. Beautiful. We're layering it onto the new in color, one of the new in colors, Cloud Cover. And I just realized I probably should have done some kind of a punch out. So let me do that real quick. Because again, paper is not cheap these days. Since I'm going to layer anyway, let me just get a piece of this. All right. That was with my 2 3/8 punch. Because guess what? You're not going to be able to see it because it's going to layer. See there? So I'll be able to use this for a different something later. There we go. See, I could layer on something. Okay. I think I shared that last week, how, you know, you want to utilize as much of this product as you can. And that's hopefully what I'm doing there. Lift up the flap and then apply some adhesive. And then continue. Just like that. And now I'm going to bring this in, layer this one on top of our card base, hold down one side, lift it up, and apply that adhesive. I don't always have my punches available to do that with, but I'm glad I did tonight because, like I said, I really hate to waste that. All right, so you've got different sides. I thought about using that one, which you could, but I really like this one too. So again, love that you have those choices available on the paper. And besides, if it's a little crooked, you can't really tell because the colors are nice and blended. But this one, if it's off, you would be able to see that it was off. Okay, here we go. Oh, I think, yeah, okay, one. Yep, we have one more card. I was thinking we were on the last card. Nope, we've got one more after this one. All right. Don't want to get ahead of myself. Now, I want to go ahead and adhere this piece down. Which is really cool. I don't recall ever sharing this fold. All right, so now I'm going to bring in this white piece right here. Find that sweet spot. For some reason, I'm not seeing comments. So if y'all are making comments, like I said, I'll go back later and respond. Okay, so next, we're going to stamp with deepest sympathy. And we're going to stamp that in Secret Sea. You could probably use Night of Navy, Misty Moonlight, lots of those colors will all coordinate. Another bonus about this sweet bundle of product, and it is sweet indeed, is that it's photopolymer. You can see exactly where it is that you're stamping. I really, really love that. Now this one, because we're going to add a little bit of ribbon, I want to pop this one up on dimensionals. There we go. And again, this one was kind of down a little bit because I wanted to show off those beautiful doves. And I think I'm going to put this one kind of right there. So again, just depending on your designer series paper where it lands, that's kind of what I did. Now I do have a pre-made bow, but I will show you how to make a bow as well. Use my little glue dot. I'll put it toward the bottom. And then once you have your ribbon or your bow, just trim it just to make sure that it's going to fit when you put it in the envelope. And I always have a pair of scissors designated for just ribbon cutting. So these are super duper sharp. And if it bothers you that this pops up, you can put a little, which it does, I'm not gonna lie. The trick to holding that cutie pie down is just putting the little glue dot right there, and that ribbon's gonna stay in place. Okay. Sometimes it bothers me, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why, but it did. So I wanted to share all the tips with y'all. And then of course, these beautiful basic rhinestones, you get like, 140. So you got this really nice big one. But I thought 2 of the smaller ones would look really nice. I love all the bling. Okay, here we go. Those little pieces just don't want to do what they're supposed to do. So just pick them up with the little gummy part of take your pick tool. Another Crafter Delight you definitely will want in your stash. And then as promised, that's card number 3. Let me show you real quickly how you can make a bow that was taught to me. You basically have your 2 rabbit ears, like you're teaching a little kiddo how to tie their shoes in kindergarten. You have the 2 rabbit ears. The 2 rabbit ears are going to cross. Okay, then this top one is going to tuck under, and pull it through. And there is your bow. And then basically when it's still on the spool, you can make it as big of a rabbit ear as you want or as little. And then you just keep working it, keep pulling it until you have it how you want it, okay? Simple enough, right? Now for our last card, I tried to, this is a technique, and I'm not sure what it's called actually, but basically this card was the sample that they showed online, the only sample that I could find, right? Because it's so brand new. And I don't think it's exact, but it's going to be very close to what it is online. We're going to use our Pecan Pie Stampin' Write marker and basic beige. And then, of course, we're going to use our blending brush, the same one we used before. And you can see there's no color on there. We've already used it. We're going to reuse it again. And we're going to bring in Balmy Blue for the card front. I'm definitely going to need to get that trimmer and that blade. It's kind of fraying my cardstock. So it's definitely time to change out the cartridge. Okay, so here we go with the Balmy Blue. This one, just gonna pick up that color and just kind of bring it in. It's very light. I was afraid if I used Misty Moonlight, it would just be way too dark. And I just wanted a little bit of a hue of the color. Like I said, this was somewhat what it looked like to me on the sample. And I don't recall seeing the ingredients that they usually share with the demonstrators. I don't recall seeing that online just yet. So this was my take on what it looked like. I'm kind of curious of other demonstrators, if you've come up with something like this, what your take on it was. And it's not the whole card, it was just a little bit in the middle, just like that. And then I got there's a brush side, and then there's that tip side. It was the tip side that I got out, and I'm just doing like little dots, kind of spread throughout. Now, it's possible those dots are gold pieces somehow, or maybe some kind of new paper that's going to be available in the new catalog, the new mini. I have no idea. But this was my take on it, okay? To make that design or sample that's shown online, which is really cool. And again, this little, the little die cut piece will die cut out 2 of those little envelopes, right? And that too is Pecan Pie. Let's see what's facing that way. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp Heartfelt Prayers. And this one is in Misty Moonlight. Right there in the middle. And once you commit, just let it soak in for a couple of seconds. There we go. Absolutely beautiful. I probably should have done a little bit closer to the right, but I think it's going to work just fine. This one's going to be, again, on dimensionals. And this one I'm just tearing it, because that way I've used up the entire little sheet there. Now, before I take that off, this is important. This is an important step. You're going to want to place where you want this to go approximately. And you'll see I've got 4 little strips of ribbon, and each strip is approximately 4 inches. And I'm going to kind of fold the ribbon. And I'm going to want my ribbon to kind of poke out right there. So that gives me an idea of where I need to put my adhesive. And I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of adhesive like so. And then before I finalize that particular one, I just wanted to see what it's going to look like. Add a little bit, oops, right there. That should be okay. All right. Then we're going to come in again. A little bit of adhesive right there. And I want all of it to stay somewhat hidden, if that makes sense. Again, using that kind of as a guide. Oh, there we go. And you just keep working it along the whole way, just like that. Again, you couldn't see the little bit there, but that's okay. That's, you know, your card's going to look just fine. But again, this is kind of my take on what it looked like online. On their sample. Just keep doing this back and forth until you find exactly how you want this on here. The reason why I did that was it saved a little bit of ribbon, I think. Maybe not, but it feels like it's saving a little bit of ribbon. I don't know. It felt like it was. All right, awesome. So it's all in there. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on there. Yay, it's coming together. I love that. Next, this part too, I think was a little different online. They, I think this piece was a small piece of Misty Moonlight, and then they embossed it white, I think. Something like that. So it's going to go right there. So I'm going to put a little glue dot on the breast of the dove right there. And then just be aware when you put this on here, you need enough room for that, the little piece right there, which is going to go underneath. Right there. And it's so tiny. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Again, this is some more of that extra piece that's left over from when you trim your paper and things like that. Excuse me. So now we're going to stamp the little tiny sending. That's another one of the words, and I'm using Misty Moonlight. Let it soak in just for a couple of seconds. And then I'm going to trim it just a tiny bit. It still looks kind of moist, so it'll smudge if I touch it, so I need to be careful, let it dry. Probably should have stamped that one earlier, admittedly, and I still have a little bit more for another one. So those little pieces, although I don't save all of the pieces, I do save a few, and then when I get too many, well, I recycle it. All right, so this one is going to be put on, and I think I might even trim it a tiny bit more because it is very tiny. There we go. And at a slant like that, it doesn't have to be a perfect cut, and it looks just fine. That way you see a little bit more of the bottom of the bird, of the dove there. And it looks like around the D area is where I want to put the glue dot. Just like that. Good thing I let that dry or it would have smudged. All right. Glue dots are great. It's just a tiny little bit of adhesive. And there we have it. And obviously I covered up that piece again, but that's fine. So I guess in reality, you only need the 3. So I made that error, I guess, if that's an error, that way you'll know not to worry about that one. Or you could bring it higher up. Totally up to you. But that's my take on what that sample online looked like. Kind of fun, different technique. Again, I'm not real sure what that would be called. And then a new to me fold. Because unfortunately, we're going to need a couple of sympathy cards here and there along the way in life. That's just the way life is. And then our beautiful Peace on Earth, new fold there. And then our first card, the stand up, Peace on Earth. Again, like I said, there's so many cards and possibilities. This is just the first go at it. And like I said, I'm hoping to share a lot more with this one. This will be featured in my July Stamp a Stack Christmas cards. And then again, we've got all these die cut pieces that go with it. It's an amazing stamp suite in bundles. So thank you all again so much for joining me this evening for our Peace on Earth first take. And we will see you next week with some more designs that hopefully you will be tempted to get this one when it becomes available. Happy stamping.